For sure. I mean, I had bad questions too. I was like meandering to try to build my brain up to her level. That's how I say it.
It was one smart lady.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. Dr. Mila Bowie is the shit. Cool. We are live. Um, check one more thing. Awesome, awesome.
Cool, cool, cool.
You guys excited to dig into the fascinating world of New Age spirituality?
Oh,
Is this new
boy.
age? It kind of seems like old age.
Kinda.
The subject matter for tonight is definitely new age. It was first of its kind, pioneering stuff.
I mean, at the time it was,
It
but
was.
it's I have some very strong opinions about this shit.
I know you
Um,
too.
yeah. Which, okay, so heads up, and this is the intro to the show right here. Um, if anybody is turning this on because they are a fan or a believer in Seth, this is not your episode. Please don't take time to get more and more offended. I have very strong opinions that are not positive about the whole situation. And hey, if it worked out well for you and you've had a great life and it benefited you well, I'm happy for you. But in terms of encouraging it, can't do it. So this is your warning right now.
Here, here.
I like the warning. Yeah.
I have strong opinions too, just personal opinions,
Yeah.
not necessarily about new age.
I'll say my opinions are pretty weak.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 114 of the Black Cat Report. My name is Gil, and joining me today is the only man who ever got kicked out of Culpeper, Virginia as Build-A-Bear for taking the name literally after he read Frankenstein and brought his own parts. Joey.
You know, those poor bears, honestly. I mean, I guess I found them along the Shenandoah Parkway, so it was kind of like Skyline Drive. So they're already kind of dead. So it was much easier to sew them on because I didn't have to fight them. And I felt like if I had to fight them, it would have been better for like looks, because I killed a bunch
Yeah.
of bears barehandedly, barehandedly.
Mhm.
But I did feel bad for those bears, man. When people hit bears with cars, it's just so sad. I just felt like I had to
Bicycles.
do good, right? Bicycles, yeah. Battlestar Galactica, but
This
yeah,
is
that was
this
really
is a
sad.
little bit this is a little bit like I feel like we're kind of already starting off with a scoop, like Robert Kennedy. There's that full story that comes out. They don't talk about the stops that he made after he picked up the bear before he ditched it. The fact that you were in the driver's seat and you guys went to build a bear.
you know, it was really sad because I didn't want to talk about it. I was really
Yeah.
sad to talk about it. He was very excited to talk about it, and
TMZ wrote you a blank check, just handed it to you, and you're like, I am so sad about this. This is terrible.
yeah, I donated it to the Barely Alive charity.
How do you do it? Oh my god.
All right. Well,
It's a talent. It's a talent.
Hmm.
well,
Haven't done it in a while.
this is why we're having a warm-up episode. Now, to help us get back into the swing of things after we were nearly swung off the flat earth by a hurricane here in Asheville, we decided to do a different kind of episode, a different format. So, wait, different format. Well, usually we deep dive and dig into topics. This week, we're going to be taking a more relaxed, roundtable like approach. So, if this is your first time tuning in and you find yourself loving the topic, but not so much the style, then seriously, go back. You can cherry pick any of our past episodes and give it another try. And for anybody who is a longtime listener, hello, hello. And let us
Mhm.
know if you like the direction of this format, if there's aspects you like, if there's things that you don't like, if you're like, dear God, when will you be back to normal? Because honestly, if you're saying that, it's going to make us feel better because we think the same thing.
Mhm.
Well, as for what happened to us, for the past few weeks after being hit by Hurricane Helene here in Western North Carolina, we've got something in the works to share our experiences with y'all. But to be quite honest, right now, we just want to ease back into BCR and talk slash think slash focus on something else. We just want to get back into a routine and have a lighthearted topic and kind of not fucking talk about it intensely for once.
Mhm.
So, in that spirit, to help us dine on this delicious and delusional word salad I've picked for this week is our very good friend, fellow co-host of Beer, Booze, and Boogeyman, the host of Paranorm Girl Podcast, Kristen.
Oh, damn. That was a severe right turn. Thank you. And thank you. Thank you.
What an intro. I
That
was
was
gonna
quite the intro.
lift
Thank
up
you.
my shirt and show my Paranorm Girl Podcast tattoo, but
Yeah,
not there yet. It's not finished. It's not finished. It's almost done.
I understand. So long as you're
Mhm.
working on it.
Yeah, I'm
And
working on it.
it's,
Yeah,
I don't expect much, but
you expect that. I
I
was
do.
admonished for our Parapalooza episode because I did not have a
Ooh.
beer, booze, and boogeyman tattoo or a single tattoo yet. So Kristen wholeheartedly drew a tattoo for me and of herself and her Paranormal podcast, and it is working through on my chest. So
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
glad to hear it's coming along, though. Yeah.
it
I
is.
like
Yeah.
that. Honestly, I like the first draft you did where it was just a photo of you pointing to a piece of paper that said get a tattoo. And like to get I was a fan. Thought that would
Yeah.
be
Wait till you see the second draft. It's even better. So
It's going to
yeah.
blow your mind.
More bears.
Mm-hmm. Lots more. Oh, my God. It's mostly bears.
It's almost all bears. So yeah. Bear with me, guys. Come
Can't stop, won't stop. Now
Never
for
stop, never
today's
stopping.
episode. Now, for today's episode, we'll be covering the strange and potentially schizophrenic origins of what is now called the New Age movement or New Age spirituality. And I'm going to be point blank with my personal opinion about New Age spirituality. Okay, again, this is another warning. We will be making fun of shit. If you don't like that, please go somewhere else. Well, like any beliefs or spiritual practices, 99% of folks don't follow the teachings to the letter. So, to be clear, I'm not knocking the whole of those that dabble or identify with new agey beliefs, but like with any religion, belief or faith, sorry, but like with any religion, belief or faith based practices, the extremes are problematic, and the fundamentalists preaching and pushing them are fucking morons. And for one of those morons, or sorry, it's like so awkward holding this because I don't have my desk to set the script on right now. Um, and for one of these morons, the best time to spring up from the far corners of the fringe and graduate from practicing believer to professional spiritual leader is right at the start of a growing trend, like Jane Roberts, who went on to become a key founder and the philosophical architect behind so many New Age beliefs and practices after spending a few years bouncing around between Eastern and Indigenous belief systems like she was walking between stages at a music festival, just kind of popping her head in over here, listening to a couple songs, popping her head into the next spot, listening to a couple songs, like not actually hearing enough of anybody. And it's completely random, the kind of stuff that she is picking up, but she's forming an opinion and she's about to do something with it. Well, there is nothing at all wrong with what a listener in that situation or somebody that's just checking out different religious practices would be doing, where they're just kind of like, I'm trying to find what's right for me, what connects, what resonates. There's nothing at all wrong with that. There is something wrong with going home and playing that religious mixtape to a group of followers who you convince that you're in contact with a higher astral entity that's introducing a new belief system into the world. That's where it gets a little bit like, this is a good thing. Or to keep the music metaphor going back to a bunch of folks and being like, I wrote all these songs, and like starting to play it for them like really fucking bad and out of tune, and you don't remember half the fucking words, and you're just yada yadaing through things. That's basically what she did.
I mean, to be fair, I've done that many, many times, and sometimes at shows I've accidentally I wrote this song, and I'm like, what the fuck is my lyrics? I'm trying to remember the verse, so I'm overextending the musical lines just to get back into it, and then I don't remember it, so I just switch the song and be like, cool, just flipping into the medley of my originals.
Yeah, that's normally around the time. Well, this is why I always have to go to Joey's shows. He taps on a part of his body because he knows where I've tattooed all of his lyrics on my body, and so like I'll just start taking shit. There's a few songs I have gotten public indecency or public exposure tickets for, but got you, buddy.
I appreciate it. For it's what friends are for.
Yeah.
No, but seriously though, she cherry-picked a few things after skimming through the beliefs of world cultures that she did not understand, then became the fundamentalist leader by preaching to folks, who then went on to cherry-pick parts that they liked from her lessons, and to make all these random, complex parts of different beliefs fit together and kind of, fill in all those finer details. And to have this new, and to make all these random complex parts of different beliefs fit together and fill in all those finer details, and to have this new philosophy make sense, Jane taught her followers how she was making shit up. You see, Jane was the one who coined the phrase, you create your own reality. That was her, or Seth, you'll find out. Which, among other things, that phrase, repeating that phrase over and over and over again, you create your own reality, became the term and the practice of manifestation, the New Age word for faith. Yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, dude. We all know somebody or are somebody, or this is the point. This is the moment where that shit happened. Like, and not that long ago, honestly.
Dang, that's gonna break some hearts. That's seriously gonna break some hearts. That's such a like a fundamental part of New Ageism, today. Like so many channels, so many shows, so many everything devoted to manifestation. The Secret, that movie, that.
The Four Agreements. All that bullshit. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like the beginning of the United States, with Manifest Destiny. They were just like, you see all this land here? Let's manifest it into us. Let's manifest it for us.
The world is what we make it, and we just made this vacant. So
exactly. Yeah. See?
We're over here. I don't see anybody.
Yeah. No. You can manifest people away with smallpox and disease blankets and just straight murder.
It's crazy how genocide works.
Hey, that's what Seth is teaching. So you know what? If you're creating your own reality,
you keep what you just said though. Keep what you just said though in mind for later when we get to some of the again, the extremes, the fundamentalist beliefs of what's coming out. So that another key point right here. And I actually have this written. Like, again, I want to say there is nothing particularly bad about that, about manifestation, right? Until it's taken to an extreme, right? That it's the people who go a little bit deeper and keep reading into it. The truth is, I mean, how many hardcore practicing Christians do any of us know? And we live in a quote unquote Christian nation, right? quote unquote, big quotes. But the like folks are like, yeah, I go to church on Easter and Christmas. So it's like the book itself does not define the followers in reality of any faith or religion, right? Otherwise, super, super strict countries wouldn't need to be so fucking strict, right? So like that's just a fact. Is like people don't follow it, and folks just across the board cherry pick. But the closer you get to the top of the tree, the more poisonous the cherries get, right? So careful where you're picking. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's true.
Now, garbage and
No.
Guys. So I know what you're saying. You're saying,
Manifest.
Gil, why aren't you in a studio? And I just haven't been manifesting hard enough, I guess. But the question is, how did this all start, right? Like, how did this come to be? Well, in the early 1960s, Jane was an aspiring science fiction author and poet who taught classes to small groups of people interested in the esoteric. Things like extrasensory perception, ESP, or like tarot cards. Like these are very rudimentary in some sense, but again, this is in like the early 1960s. It's kind of whatever books are at your local library or whatever shit you heard about on like whatever local TV station you could get in, right? So it's very basic stuff, but it is the start of the alternative or like hippie movement. These things are starting to pop up more at like, all of a sudden book fairs are a thing. Holy shit, what's that? And it's like, there's somebody over there and they're really dedicated to these sets of books. And it's like, Aleister Crowley, what's he into?
Yeah.
This is that time, right? So she's in the right time at the right place, and she's starting to dabble in the right shit. Again, she also has the background of she's a science fiction writer. I don't know if that rings any bells for any other major religion.
No,
that
not like
pops up around
Scientology
this
with
same.
maybe,
Ron Hubbard.
just maybe one, just one that comes to mind.
Just a couple, right?
Just one.
Like Kirkology with like Star Trek Eanity. I don't know if you guys have heard about that one.
Kirkology?
Yeah, but it's like Star Trek Eanity, so like people get super into it and like believe that Kirk was a god, and Leonard Nimoy who's Leonard Nimoy? Spock's character was Jesus. He sacrificed himself for the starship.
Dude, like I'm gullible. I do believe in manifestation sometimes. Like I will believe you. Are you lying right now?
Yes. I mean, to be fair,
Joey.
To be fair, that could have possibly be true. I don't even know, but
I think it is now. Maybe you're. Well, maybe he's starting a movement right now.
It could have been. I mean, he's always into the paranormal, into the UFOs, so he could have started something.
Kristen, you are currently church blocking, which is a cock blocking version of a church.
So sorry.
You are currently church blocking our retirement plans. All right, we were starting to sow the seeds right now.
Oh, I do. My humblest apologies.
We're actually planning on starting an offline Reddit. So it's basically just where people go to a bookstore. Or it's not really a bookstore. It's more like a place where you get a card of some sort, and it's like very cheap, and there's a place that has all these books, and it's just you can go in there with this card and you can rent out books. But if you're late on taking the books, you can rent them out for like 3 days, 4 days, and you bring them back. But if you bring them back a little late past that, you have a small fee. So that was me and Gil's business idea. It's our retirement idea.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be successful. Yeah,
I think so too. I believe it's making a comeback. I think.
Sorry, everybody. Really awkward drinking.
Feels like I need another beer to deal with this.
Poor guy, crammed in that corner, man.
So about 90% of this is going to be cut. Capers.
I listened to.
I don't know. I'm editing it, so.
If you want to cut this part, I listened to all 10 and a half hours of the audiobook.
I don't know why you did that.
And about 5 hours of her recordings from.
I could barely listen to
What? Oh,
30 minutes of her talking.
Yeah, I was.
I literally went to go start writing the script, and I'm like, I don't know how to use words right now. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
It has that effect on you. It
Mhm.
has that effect on you.
Bro.
That video, my gosh, I was losing my grip on everything.
That was
Like catching myself zoning out, but not like because I was sleeping, but just like out for a second. I was like, whoa, oh my god. Okay.
You wake up on your computer and you've typed in how to donate to the Church of Seth. How to join the Church of Seth.
I was
Buying
being
the books.
hypnotized, man.
You wake up in a tattoo chair. He's like, all right, all done. It's just like Seth across your forehead. It's just like, oh no.
Like, I don't know how we got here.
God damn it again.
Mhm.
I just grew my my undercut back after getting Keanu tattooed.
No, they tattoo Seth
That
just
was
over
worth
the
it.
Paranorm Girl tattoo.
Mhm. Mhm.
Seth Paranorm Girl? Paranorm Girl Seth? But
Bears. Yes.
so where the fuck were any of us? Well, there we go. Yeah. So things like extrasensory perception, ESP, and tarot cards. Her and her husband, whose very unfortunate name needs its own dedicated paragraph later, had a regular routine, right? So after dinner every night, the husband would, I don't know, fucking doodle bop around or whatever, while Jane would sit down in isolation for a few hours and write poetry. Bad, unwinding at the end of the day, but they didn't really explain what he did. So I assumed he's just like, all right, honey, I'll be over here. No, do you need anything? No, I can close the door. I can see your shadow. Oh, sorry, I'll step back. like I kind of get that vibe. Although he seems like a very nice guy, I still get that vibe. You can be nice and like that. I'm pointing that out. And point is, it was during one of her late evening poetry times, right? A few years into their marriage, and it was December 1963 that Jane claims she first met, quote, an energy, personality, essence no longer focused in physical matter. Technical name. You good?
Yeah, I thought I was pushing Mike and I was pushing something else. I am so sorry.
It was actually Craig. I stole your joke, Joey. I'm sorry.
Do you want to reread that part?
Joey's
I'm so sorry.
No, this
I'm lost
records
in
on
the word
separate
salad.
tracks. You're good.
I'm lost in the
This
word
records on
salad.
separate.
Yeah.
You could start banging cymbals and like it wouldn't come through on my track. You're good.
It's funny you say that. I have symbols right here.
So do I. Ha! Unzip my hoodie again and have symbols. You're just like, what the fuck?
How many hoodies do you
How
have?
much shit do you have under there?
Never asked that. Never asked that.
You sound like my doctor. What I have under here?
We're barely making it, Gil. Come on.
Hey man, that's the fucking point of this episode. Is it's a warm up. We're getting back into it. We're getting back into the swing of things, right?
I know. I was making another bear pun.
Shit, I missed it. I'm sorry.
It was so good, so smooth. I missed it too.
I'm just so used to bears around here.
I just literally had a bear going through my trash, and I walked outside and was like, "Hey, bud," and he just looked at me and he was like, "I'll walk away." I'm not kidding.
Like,
I literally just yelled out the door.
I love how
He's like,
nonchalant
"Do you
y'all
need-"
are with bears over there. Like they're
Bro,
everywhere.
you
over
gotta
there.
be. I'm sorry. You gotta
you gonna
be.
do?
It's
What's
like
it-
if you had a deer in your yard, only the deer could murder you.
Yeah, I would hate that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, but they act like deer. Anyways, yeah. So it was during one of her late evening poetry times in December of 1963 that Jane claims she first met, quote, an energy, personality, essence no longer focused in physical matter, end quote. Now, after this first experience where this personality essence, I'm not reading all that a million times, had a conversation through her, she told her husband, and they immediately ran out of the house, down the street, and bought a Ouija board. Well, over the next few weeks, they tried over and over and over, and dear Lord, the book outlines this over again, to try to call or summon or beckon or smoke signal back that essence thingy, until finally it picked up the phone. And it was then that they asked for its name, which it proceeded to spell out. S-E-T-H. Seth. Well, once Seth had Jane's number saved in his contacts and knew who was calling, Jane was able to regularly channel Seth at that point. That's basically how the book breaks it down. It's like, oh, no, we're good now. And he's like, shit, I forgot to save her number last time. Like, that's kind of how it felt in the book. It's like, I don't know who the fuck this is. Beep. And just, yeah, I definitely got that fucking vibe. And so began Jane and her husband's new bi-weekly evening routine, right? So this replaced 2 poetry nights every single week, where they channeled Seth, and her husband sat there and wrote everything that Seth said down. This is in 1963. Please keep that in mind, because, dear Lord, Seth had a lot to say. But also, the first book that came out from all of this wasn't started by Seth via Jane's husband, until 1970. They did this 2 nights a week for 7 years before they started the book.
Dang.
So while they're
And
doing,
they have it documented
lot.
in the thing as they're kind of going through, like in the book, right? Which I'm about to give the title of here in a moment. While they're going through and they're doing it, they have it documented. It's session number. It was session like 515 when they started the intro to the book.
so let's look at it like this. We have 100. This is our 114th episode, right? So we've done so much research on all of this stuff. You know,
Yeah.
They're doing this personal encounter menage a trois with Seth and those two. And there's so how can they afford paper? Like, just to be honest, because they're writing so much, like 2 hours a night, 2 times a week, right?
Well, they were recording, right? Were they recording?
No, he was
it?
writing it. He was writing
He
it
was.
down.
Oh,
This is
I see.
1963. He was.
Dang. Oh.
Yeah. And then afterwards, a lot of times after these sessions, which I call Seth sessions, but after the Seth sessions, I can't say that fast. I can't even say it slow.
Sessions.
Yeah, it's hard. But after these sessions, he would then have to go through and rewrite the notes to make it more legible
Oh.
for her to, because like he was just, fucking like, oh, honestly, take a month off, become a stenographer. It's a great career, great pay, really entertaining. Being in a court, like, oh my God, so much time could have been saved.
Dude, he couldn't
just
have been
about
doing anything else. Nothing else.
No, which again goes back to, I could see your shadow. Like, I'm kind of like, bro, at what point do you kind of put your foot down and you're like, honey, can we like have sex? No. I'm Seth right now. Seth, can we have sex?
Off. Yeah, it's got to be a big turn off. I mean,
he becomes a content cuck. Like, he straight up becomes a content cuck. He's just watching, and like the way, oh my God, there's so many things that I would like to include, but I was like, I'm taking it easy on the script. But there's some moments in there where she gets into like some shit, and it's cucky. That's all I'm saying.
Her husband's like, what's Seth doing right now? Oh, Seth is just okay. Got to get into her voice. And sounds like
no, hold on. Don't spoil the voice yet. Don't spoil the voice. I have it coming up.
The voice.
It'll be a climax for everyone besides us.
and her husband.
Oh, who knows?
We
He
are
might
about
add a
to be the
different kind of pen
content
in his
cucks.
hand.
That's why his handwriting was so illegible.
Hold on, I'm writing left-handed. We don't normally make these jokes.
Welcome back.
We do, but we
baby.
cut them.
Yeah.
Man, the unedited things.
Mm-hmm.
But see, by the time that you join our Patreon, you're not willing to get us canceled, so we can show you the shit that would get us canceled.
It's the good stuff, juicy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The episodes that are 2.5 hours long that we record, and then they get shrunk down to 45 minutes. It's not like we weren't talking.
Yeah, we were just in a pool.
You can smoke on the show too. I'm just like,
I feel bad. I'm like,
we don't give a fuck. All right. And we encourage our audience to not give a fuck.
Yeah,
All
we
right,
encourage
all right.
us to do things that our audience is probably doing while listening to us. Except for one
I
thing that
hope
might
they're
get us
doing
kicked
drugs.
off on YouTube. So we don't talk about that. though.
What?
What?
Uh-oh.
We're all
There goes
good.
an
We're
entire
good.
page of my script. Thanks, Joey.
No, you're welcome.
I didn't hear him. You can keep going.
He mentioned the thing of which we do not speak by saying it's the thing of which we do not speak. Well,
Oh.
so yeah, it was somewhere around their 500th session. Like literally, it was like 515 or 512 or some shit. And it was like, all right, today's the day that Seth is going to start telling me so that I can tell you what the fuck to write down for the book. There's a lot of layers here. And there was about, and I'm not shitting you, there was about 20 pages of the book. It may have been a paragraph, but it felt like 20 pages. There was about 20 pages of the book where they went into the philosophical argument of the philosophical argument of and the background of, but it was from Seth saying this through her, through Jane, about I didn't let her influence the writing. She had no input on this. This is entirely pure and just from me, and how the husband made a point not to edit, and that she was miraculously she forgot everything almost immediately after she said it and had no knowledge of what the fuck she had said, which could be a sign that it's totally fucking legit. It doesn't feel like that, but it could be a sign. And so there's all these pages where it's and this was pure and this was blah blah blah, and then it literally starts to transition into, so what if I am made up? So what if I am a part of consciousness that's just completely manufactured? What if that actually does create a separate entity, and maybe it is through Jane, through the separate entity that is created. So then it starts to go from gray to battleship gray, right? And then Jane starts to say shit and I could almost quote, I'm not gonna fucking pull up that PDF. Dear Lord, somebody go look up an excerpt of that and you'll know why I'm so hesitant to quote shit. But she starts to say shit and I would just talk to everybody and be like, I don't know if I could do this. And they all said, we know that you can do this. We know that you're capable of doing this. And I just felt like maybe I am capable of doing it. And then Seth told me that I am capable of doing it. And that's why he chose me to do this. And while he did give me permission a few times to go through and change some things and correct them to help with the wording around some stuff. But it was Seth. It was entirely Seth. But also, and then it basically was it was entirely Seth. Seth is 100% real unless he's not real, but that doesn't matter because the only possible way he could have done any of this, is if he picked the right person, the perfect person, who was me. But he's real.
That's circle.
But I also helped out a little bit. But he's 100% real. There's 20 pages, and I'm just summarizing shit and bullet points in one sentence, and I'm just dude, what the fuck are you saying? That's the intro.
That was real twisty.
So
And
It's
mhm.
yeah,
if
it
I can
sets the reader up for the rest of the fucking.
if I can bring this in, I don't
Which
know
is a
if this is
lot of the
anywhere
same.
else.
Yeah.
Like, so the Egyptian god, like we said, Set,
Set,
is
yeah.
also the god of chaos and a trickster and a joker. So
Mhm.
if this is possible that Egyptian god isn't in some real way this idea of it, this is kind of messing with your mind as you're listening to it, and that's kind of what a chaos and a trickster god would do through somebody to kind of make you believe, but it's real, but is it, but is it real, but is it, let me just like pluck your brain a little bit and move you around. So I'm not saying it's real, obviously. I'm just saying that it's a comparison to the deity, Egyptian deity Seth, who
Mhm.
was a trickster god and also was a very disorder kind of person to try to create a lot of chaos, create a lot of things going
Mhm.
on. And that's what this person is doing to some of these people's lives. So,
Yeah, and it puts
Yeah.
anybody listening to that in this weird, like, gray space
mhm,
where ultimately it's okay. Whatever the answer is, whatever is at the end of all of this, it's okay because I've been prepped and primed for this. That
Yeah.
it could be this, it could be that. I don't know, but it's okay because
Yep.
it's all real.
Mhm.
or is it?
Mm,
Because we
or
make it
is
real.
it? Yes, yes. Because we
Yeah.
create our own reality.
hmm
We all create it. And
Hmm.
I really like what you said, Joey, because honestly, so like I'm a huge fan of disorder and chaos and shit. And if I was as old as Set, I would start doing shit like this and think that it's fucking hilarious. Like if I die and then it's just like, all right, you get dominion over Lansing, Michigan or some shit, I would be like, like, and I'm like,
hmm
wait, I'm not gonna die or get in trouble for anything I do. And they're like, no, you're fine. You could do whatever you want. I'm like, I'm gonna start putting pop rocks in everybody's coffee creamer. Just like I would just start doing weird fucking shit. Like when it's like what is it, the Kentucky meat rain case where it was like all those bits of meat started like raining in Kentucky. That it was like
I've
super
heard of
well
that. Yeah,
documented. It
yeah.
was it was lab tested. It was like this happened. I mean, it was like early lab tested, but the point is like that shit existed, and it turned. I forget what the fuck protein it turned out to be. Um, it was also like a very early analysis of it, but yeah, no, it was just like meat chunks of meat were just falling over an entire region of Kentucky. And
That's so
then
weird.
obviously within the next day, because it was summer, it went bad and it
Hmm.
stunk real fun. Like everybody was like, oh my god, it's raining meat. And then they went there like, oh my god, this fucking stinks. And then they left. Like there was a couple folks that I think actually like ate it and they were like, it was
Ew.
Yeah. I mean, that would give a whole new meaning to it's raining cats and dogs, you know?
okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean
Are
like
they
literally cats and dogs.
are they
Yeah.
eating them in Kentucky though?
I know they are in Springfield, Ohio.
Me too. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's true. But it could have just been chopped up pieces of the old horses that were running
Well,
from.
okay, I'm thinking of the
That's really
Kentucky
The
sad.
Derby
Kentucky,
because I
Yeah.
was like,
that's
wasn't
how
it
the
horse
Kentucky Derby
meat?
started.
Like,
It
yeah,
could, yeah, it could have been horses.
I don't know.
Ugh. Yeah, I don't really know either.
The point is,
Well,
nobody make Gil a god because he would be just the worst.
You'd be Loki.
and
You
He
would be
would.
Loki.
that my 100%, and that my family, the Bentley side of my family, is from that region of Kentucky. I just think that's promising. That's all I'm saying. Well, where were we? No one knows. So here's the short paragraph that's dedicated to the husband. You're welcome. I'll wait until you don't have liquid in your mouth.
All right, ready,
I don't
ready,
think that's
Freddy.
ever, though.
Book's title: Seth Speaks, The Eternal Validity of the Soul. Written by Jane Roberts, with notes by her husband.
this is gonna be bad.
With notes by her husband, Robert F. Butts.
Rob F. Butts. Robbie. Robin Butts.
It's literally 2 T's. It's like Robert F. period. The whole time I was reading, it's like Robert fucks butts.
It would be great if his name was Richard, though.
Dick F butts.
Johnson F. Butts.
Oh, well, Johnson. Well, it would have been also funny if his name was Seth. The husband's name was Seth.
Shit's about to get real weird here.
Okay, I'm
The
listening.
the dictation process or the transcribing process. Yeah, the dictator process. No, the dictation process.
Dictated by
Robert
F.
that
Butts.
Robert F. Butts. No, nobody at any point, and I couldn't find it anywhere, explain why the fuck like Jane and Robert have completely different last names. Like I just
Sometimes people don't change their last name.
no. Her name is Jane Roberts.
Oh, that would be so weird.
His name is Robert F. Butts, but her name was Jane. Fuck, I don't. It was the names get really fucking confusing, and it's about to get real bad
She
here in a
kept
moment.
her original last name. Otherwise, her last name would be Butts.
Jane Butts.
The end.
She was like, she's like,
she knew it was, she was like, no, I'm good. I'm
No,
good.
thank you.
Yeah.
and I couldn't find Robert's full middle name, just the initial, which I'm assuming it just means fuck. And by fuck, I mean fucked, because this dude is just fucked. I'm so mad that his name is in small print on the cover of the book because I know how much hard work he did for all of this shit. While Jane is just like, why isn't this written clearly? Leave me alone. I have a date with Seth. We have to talk production. Yes, ma'am.
Get
This
away
guy's
from the door.
This guy's getting yelled at by Seth and by his wife just consistently all day. He just like, I can't catch a break.
I feel so bad for Rob.
Oh,
And I've
Mr.
seen
Butts.
videos. I know. I've seen interviews and shit with him. He legitimately seems like a very sincere, very sweet
He does.
guy.
Yeah.
God
He's like,
damn it, Jane stumped all over it.
he's like, she's like, damn it, that's it. We're going to a marriage counselor. And they just walk next door. He's like,
She's like,
marriage
"Oh,
counselor Seth. It's just like,
Your wife is right.
I cannot win. I cannot win with this one.
He's just like, oh no, even they agree.
All right, Robert, you're going to have to take notes for us on this marriage counseling session.
So is this like Seth talking through Jane, just like, Robert, how does the upcoming divorce feel? He's just like, can you I write down my thoughts? Yeah, they're just like making out with themselves, and she's doing that thing, you know, and she's like, they're like, yeah, give us some quiet time. And he's like, okay, I'll write it down. I feel so bad.
Oh.
I've never seen someone be a potentially paranormal cuck before, but like, this is literally it. This could be a very niche audience Pornhub channel. Like, this could be it, where it's just like, yeah, I'll write down what's happening. It's so, dude, for 7 years, and then it keeps going. It goes for like another 15 or 20 years after this. Like, this isn't the end. There's like 90 books. I don't even know if they tapped into the first 7 years of 500 sessions.
How can there be so many? This is like the first time I've ever heard of this movement, or this particular story, I guess.
They start running two-a-days, you know?
That's the thing, is once you hear it, you realize they just took the same dictionary and put it in a fucking blender.
Mm-hmm.
Although there could be an alternate universe, which fuck it, at this point anything's possible, right? Where where Robert was just really bad at taking notes, but it was actually incredibly eloquent and like predicted a million things and was like, this is the cure to HIV. You don't know what that is yet for another 10 years, but I will tell you. And he's just like, I think I'm gonna try toaster strudels. Those sound good. She's like, God damn it, Robert! Like, I'm sorry, baby.
Or the alternate universe is that it's Seth's universe, and Jane keeps coming through and speaking through him, but it's just their normal conversation with the husband and wife. And then Seth is like, God damn it, with his wife or husband or whatever. Deity.
It's just an
other
alien.
deity. Yeah.
It's just an alien in a ship that's like spending too long in the bathroom. That's like not even like emotionally, but like cerebrally cheating on his alien wife. Just being like,
Mhm.
yeah, I got one of those hot humans.
Mhm.
Told that bitch I was eternal. Got my side planet.
I'm getting Jane Hub.
Oh, she's channel cheating. So here's the thing. This book would go on to sell millions of copies. Just this one. All the other ones did too. Just this one. This is in 1970, a book selling millions of copies. This is a big fucking deal, right? Just getting a fucking publisher in the 1970s was insane. You know, like that's like holy shit, authors struggled for that. Even like some medium to big size authors like struggled with getting certain books published and shit that they made. She got this shit published and it went to the millions immediately, right? Sold millions of copies, which ultimately, inevitably, led to Jane holding lectures and teaching classes via channeling Seth, who would give very, very long-winded sermons that occasionally, sometimes, if you listened far enough, answered people's questions. So, depending on, here's the thing though, like, as a fucking human though, right? Did I not edit that line out? Yeah. So here's the thing. As humans, the process behind how we come to open up to, right, or accept something can make a huge difference, right? So when we read a book, we imagine a voice for the author and each of the characters that get brought up in there, and that's what you do. And when we listen to an audiobook, the voice actors kind of, fill the gap and add a more refined emotion to the text that's coming across. And either of those starting points can completely make or break how appealing the content is. And this is important because for millions of people reading the book in the 1970s, and I want to emphasize this, for millions of people today that are listening to the audiobook, the early romance that gets created, it doesn't get divorced from the reality of the content until after they've gotten sucked in, right? I really want to emphasize this. I had came across the video of Jane in a channeling session with Seth and Robert F. Butts taking notes and like her talking, right? And it was recorded. That was the first thing I came across. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is wackadoo, which is like why I kind of had it on the back burner on a playlist that was collecting dust and why I picked it up now. I didn't know it go this deep. I just thought it was the only video of this super obscure thing with a handful of followers. I didn't know it just kept fucking going. But it turns out, if you're the kid of a kid of a kid, then everything's connected through history, right? Well, that was my first exposure to this. And I couldn't get over the comments, the overwhelming, and it's like day to day, hour to hour, recent comments across a lot of these videos of people being so uplifted and being like, I remember when I got this book in 1973, somebody gave it to me and it changed my life, and da 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 da. Like so much, and it's so constant, and people are getting turned on to it now. I think it has like a 9.5 out of 10 star rating on like Goodreads and shit, right? Seriously, don't like go look at the reviews. Like
Mhm.
this is still 100% relevant, right? But my first exposure was what's at the other end of the rainbow, right? What's at the end of the trail of like what folks that go from getting a book, reading it, trying really hard to understand it, developing an idea, starting to get into it, starting to try to practice and live their life, then being like, oh my God, there's a conference. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go see it. At that point, they're invested in it. They've handed the book off to someone else. They've told folks about it. They identify with it. They're going to be way more receptive to shit that would have completely turned them away the first time they saw it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you probably don't fart on a first date kind of a thing, you know? Like I'm just being real. Like there's certain like this is a process as humans. Like there's certain things where it's like I'm not that comfortable with them yet, or I should wait a little while, or da da da, or it finally happens and it's an accident and everybody laughs it off, and it become. Point is like you have to grow more comfortable with the reality, right? So you have to start with that illusion, go into reality. But if you go the other way, you're like, what the literal fuck just happened? If you were like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. I'm glad you could go on a date tonight. Oh God, oh, I shit my pants. You'd be like, I'm not dating, you know. But if that happened on their 19th date, you know, or something, it'd be like, oh my God, that was hilarious. But there's 18 other ones for reference. You're fine, you know.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. That's how our brains work. And so this is important. We've moved into the audiobook generation in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm assuming most folks listening to a podcast right now also probably maybe enjoy audiobooks. You're probably an auditory type of person, right? Don't get roped in, and help your friends not get fucking roped in. This shit. Just don't get roped in.
Yeah.
This is one compound in Central or South America away from like Jonestown. This is like bad shit.
So
Okay.
I guess at the beginning, you know, they're just bringing you in with like barely broaching the topics, you know, so you're just scratching that little surface of seeing like, oh, this is beautiful, like I can help my life, like this is, I can apply this to my life, I can, yeah, like why wouldn't I just view this bad thing as a good thing and just change it as like a good part in my life? And you know, and it takes a while, and it's slowly over time for them to bear fruit, you know. um Snuck him in twice.
Jesus. Oh God, he's so good.
But it takes a while for that to, like you're saying, to just like niche into your brain, to like leech onto your brain, and at the end of it, you're,
Mhm.
you know, fucking shooting up Seth into your veins, like, and you're spending all your
Mainline and
money,
Seth.
yeah, mainline and Seth, and then you know you barely have any money at the end, and you're just
In
like,
the
here you go,
kitchen,
Seth.
cooking
Yeah.
Seth. Yeah.
That's every cult. That's
Mhm.
every belief system. You know, Scientology. They really, you know,
Yep.
or however a fishing pole works. And then yeah, it's just easy peasy. It's easy peasy at first. It's all sunshine and
Sea
roses and
fishing.
ponies. Yeah.
It's big reel. It's a big reel.
It's a bass. It's a big one.
What if we took every single religion and stopped it at the beginning? Like you stop, like at the,
They
instead of
tried
going,
that in Rome.
they did. Yeah, they
You guys keep it going. I'll be right back.
they did. But what if we stopped all the like the learning? They did try that in Rome, and somebody got murdered.
A lot of people
Supposedly.
get murdered.
Well, a
What
lot.
do you
Well,
what do you
that's
mean
every
by
day.
that? Elaborate on your idea there.
But
What if we tried to stop everyone?
we're talking about the beginning of this religion as like, you know, it's not bad. You know, you're thinking about like, how do you view things? You know, it's your
Hmm.
purview on how you're viewing what bad things as good things. And if before you get into that next step of it, same with Scientology, where they're like, eat well, You know, most of it is like
Mhm.
starting. They're like, let's check you out, see how your thoughts are. If you eat well, you're doing better. If you keep away
Mhm.
from these things, you're doing better. So like just at these like little, you're putting your pinky toe into these religions.
Mhm.
Most of the time to get you in is how they do it, like we just talked about, is like it's not bad. Like there's some things that you can take away and be like, that's
Absolutely.
good, you know?
Absolutely.
But what if there was a religion that took every single piece of all those beginnings and just never went any farther?
Was just all good.
Just, well, I mean, you can't always have all good because it's not how life works, but you just had all of these things that
It was just
helpful.
always the pizza party
It's
phase.
always the pizza party phase,
Yeah.
That
you know?
Yeah.
Joey, you just circled around it. You didn't even circle. You blazed a goddamn trail, hitting bears in your path, everything, to
Mhm.
get to such a fucking good point. That point is when she hopscotched through all these different religions. Guess the fuck what happens when you first start getting into a religion? All of the introductory shit.
Mhm.
Mhm.
All of the this is why you need us. This is how you should start to view the world. This is all of the most seductive assets of religions that actually try to go out and convert folks, right? The most seductive aspects, or the very rudimentary, the very fundamental 101 things that after thousands of fucking years of society processing and philosophers working on, or theologians working on, they simplified it down for the folks that are day one because they want more folks to be a part of their belief system.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So just the hooks, just the greatest hits, right? To get you into that shit. She bounced across a lot of them just long enough to kind of start getting to the part where she actually had to fucking study and then dip the fuck out and then went to the next one. So as these word salads, right? These word Seth salads, these words Seth salads, salad Seths, as these things start to develop, that is 99% of what she's saying. It's
Mhm.
just a million fucking hooks. It's a
Mhm.
pizza party every fucking day for your imagination, but nobody can find the goddamn pizza. So like it's but that I honestly do think that was a key element. You
Mhm.
know, it's
Yeah.
like she did go through and she made a fucking like mixtape, but she only listened to the one hit song from every single one of those bands on those different stages.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
she came back and she's like, listen to this dope album I just made. And they're like, it's a little out of tune, but I see potential, you know? Like it's what fucking happened here.
This is,
Yeah.
to me, it's like the Scholastic book fair when you're young, but you don't get the free pizza for reading the books. Like they promise you the free pizza
Yeah.
to get you the books, and then you
That's
just don't get them because you have to read through all this stuff, and then at the end, there's nothing there.
do I need to
There's no
break it to
answer.
him?
Or you do get the pizza, and when you finally do
Joey.
get it, you realize it's this big. It's this big.
I would not complain. Joey, oh fuck, this is gonna change your childhood, but hey, I'm sorry, I gotta break this here live on air right now to the world. Your heartbreak and emotion. Joey, the Pizza Hut reading club was separate than the Scholastic Book Fair, bud. You went to the
You're
wrong
right.
place with your reading points.
You're actually right. I forgot.
So sorry. Because I did do
Just
that
you,
because I've
you.
been a lifelong devotee of books and pizza.
I knew what you meant, Joey.
I forgot that they were
I knew
different,
what
but
he
I
meant,
swear, no, Scholastic Book
but
Fair, you go and
School-
buy books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For it, but I swear there was something like that it wasn't, because I don't remember
You
the
still
plot.
have your pizza points, don't you, bud?
I don't think I ever got pizza for all
You
the books
still-
I read.
No, that's what I'm saying. You still have your
Yeah.
your summer reading list points card somewhere, don't you, bud? You're
I
still
don't know if
hoping
I
for
have the
that day.
card, which is
Tell you
even
what, bud, you
sadder
tell me-
because I can't now go to Pizza Hut without a card.
I'll ask
and
your
be
mom.
Like, hey.
I
I
guarantee
wonder
you,
if you
your
could
mom
still redeem them
remembers.
now.
Mhm.
Think you could? Do you
You
think
know
they'd
what?
honor them?
If this world still has a fucking heart, it would.
I like to think Pizza Hut still has a heart. You know, like I'd like to think out of all the pizza chains, I would
Yeah.
say Papa John's, no.
Oh yeah,
Papa
no,
John's
fuck no.
does not
No,
have a heart.
no, 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 no.
Domino's,
No.
no.
Papa,
No
Papa
heart in
John's is like the
Domino's.
Catholic father of pizza, like
Mhm.
literally.
Yeah, it'll sleep
Like
with you,
it's just
you know.
he'll sleep with your children.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Mhm. Yeah. But I do still feel like, because it's from our childhood, like the pizza buffets.
Mhm.
Just can't remember.
pizza used to be the largest purchaser of kale in the United States because they used it for the display around their buffets because nobody fucking ate kale then.
Whoa.
It
Yeah,
was
so-
just a fucking it wasn't even a garnish. It was a fucking decoration on like the thing and they just threw it
I love
away.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Honestly, I
damn.
wish we could go back. We need to get rid of that shit.
What
But
a waste. If I could go back, I would be eating that kale underneath for free.
you would get arrested
making
immediately.
making a little kale salad.
I was like, this is not free. This is not free.
You
Just like,
cannot have
I
the
think
garnish,
she's
Yeah.
Kristen.
I think she's a time traveler. She is just fucking inventing things and
Ahead
doing
of
it
her
wrong.
time. Ahead of her time.
Kristen,
Yeah.
you
She must be from the past. Like, can you just quiz time travelers? Well,
Mhm.
after all the incredible conversation, I hope. Maybe my brain's just numb from all the shit we're about to go through. Point is, I'm not going to do that whole audiobook or book thing or just like quotes or hearing it in somebody else's voice. No. Straight to the fucking horse's mouth, right? And straight to the butts. I want, before we have an open forum style discussion around some of the deeper aspects of Seth, before we get into the backstory, the process, the beliefs, I'm going to play a clip of Jane channeling Seth. And I hope if you've made it this damn far, either A, you're as cynical as us, black star for you, or B, you're like just rage listening at this point. And if you are rage listening at this point, or if you're in the first category, I think this next clip will explain why we're all so fucking primed to just tear into this bullshit.
I don't know. I'm starting to believe. So
Hit the tape, Joey. Hit the tape.
Your being is important. The fact that you are, my friend, impresses the universe, and that impression is never lost. That impression lives in your terms, though time itself is forgotten and dies. Your being, as it is important. And whatever you do, it is not trivial. When you realize that your being is important, then you will realize that by being yourself, you will do in your terms important things you cannot do otherwise.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts, y'all?
That's about how I remember it. I have a Seth tattooed on my chest all of a sudden. It's so
That was quick.
strange how that
That was quick.
happened.
God, how does this keep happening?
And it doesn't say Seth. It says Setha.
It's
Setha.
Ah! Hold on.
It's-
There's. Oh, go ahead.
No, initial thought it's nonsense. Like I don't even know what
It's bullshit.
she said. I don't understand what was the moral of that story. Like I could not tell you.
I intentionally, so there's a longer piece, which I'm gonna play another section from here in a second. I'm gonna screen share to the original YouTube, and I'll include the original link. Although I feel like dirty for like it's like I'm out of weed this week. Here's heroin. Like I don't want to do that. Like I don't even want to fucking put that up as a reference. It's like no, I don't want to encourage that shit. But but you can find it. If you literally type in Seth Speaks, it'll come up. But I will include that video that I straight up stole a clip from. I'll include that in there. It was copyrighted through Robert F. Butts, so I think I'm okay. But
That
I'm such an ass. He's such an ass. We're such asses. We'll get along. But no. Where was it going with that? There's sections that when I first heard and third and fourth heard did not make any fucking sense. And I was like, what? It's because the cadence is so fucked up. Like I added subtitles on top of the old subtitles for that for folks that are watching this. Because I was like, it's like really hard to understand what the fuck's going on. Like literally, I'm just like, I know English, I think. And I'm just like, I don't understand these fucking words. You know, like it's everything's off, the syllables are off, like like everything is wrong with it. And it's that process of like I have to focus that honestly, at least to me, sucks you in. It's still annoying when you get in there. Like honestly, it's still really fucking annoying once you do understand it. But at that point, I committed to this episode. I didn't do this out of actual fucking interest. Like in terms of like, this is gonna change my life. That was not what happened. I was just like, this is fascinating content. And I was like, doing it for the report, god damn it. Like, you know, like I'm doing it for the report. I did understand some shit. And if you change the speed you're listening to it, it makes it a little easier. Sometimes she kind of makes sense, but it's still really fucking shallow, which goes back to the whole, she just kind of, you know, pick cherries from a bunch of different belief systems and cultures and then started repeating it back. But she repeated it back in such a way that it drew folks in. It's almost like if you're somewhere and you like intentionally, you know, if you talked quieter to make the person come closer to you, like, wait, fuck, that's so-and-so. And they're like, that's who? And they're just like, so-and-so. And they're like, what? That's so-and-so. And then they finally get closer and you're like, don't look, that's my ex-partner right now. You know, like it's that kind of a thing, but it's like with an attention span. And then you get in and you're just like, this is still fucking stupid. Like, this is dumb as shit. But by that point, especially in the 1970s, people had already paid money to travel across the country and sit in a room with her. They had already been reading the book, recommending the book, getting volume 2, volume 3, volume 4. What the fuck did Seth say this week? You know, Seth Saturday, dude. What's the new edition? You know, they're fucking stoked. And like, by that point, you're a little bit more accepting of like, okay, well, this is similar. But actually, because it's similar, maybe because it's similar to other things, it makes it more legitimate. Yeah, because they're all kind of saying the same things, but I understand her. Like, there's a thought process that happens with that shit, right?
Yeah.
Which is what's so fucking seductive about the shit. She just never had, and I'm assuming Robert Butts didn't either, the ovaries or the balls to like, or the butts to actually like get the guns to pull the trigger and make this a full-fledged cult. Like straight up, this could have been a 100% serious fucking cult, but they kind of like went soft. So like props to them. You know, they're crazy, didn't take down the world. That's cool. But like it just never went. It could have. It very easily fucking could have. Now, I'm going to screen share here a little clip of Jane, same lady for folks that are just hearing audio that you just heard, channeling Seth. I'm going to play a clip of her speaking normally, but she's not channeling Seth. Let's see here.
Such as Seth enter into one's life. In Jane's case, it began with an unusual experience of automatic writing.
On the script and realized that, you know, I had to have written it.
Yeah.
That the stuff that was in the script was stuff I had felt while I was out, to some extent. In that the script, again, the title was The Physical Universe as Idea Construction. The idea being that everything is a result of idea and has consciousness. But when I was out, I would go in atoms and molecules, and I felt their consciousness. But then when I read the script, it was terribly hard to accept portions of it because it pretty much went against what I've been taught.
And real quick again for reference.
Your being is important. The fact that you are, my friend, impresses us.
Yeah. This is a load of bullshit. I'm sorry. This is so like.
I'm gonna say this really maybe controversial thing, and I think she's hotter as Seth than she says Jane. I'm kind of digging the voice, honestly. The
Ugh.
Seth voice.
Ugh.
I don't know. There's just something about it. It's drawing me in. As I guess
would
that's what
maybe-
people feel.
Yeah, you're
James
ripe.
Seth
You're
Rubens.
ripe for Sethism.
Mhm.
The
Spiritual
dic-
threesomes.
the dichotomy between the two characters is really interesting. It's just so very black and white. Like, but it's as if you pick a character that's what is you think is completely different from yourself, and you go to the extreme. I do
Mhm. Yeah.
wonder how much of her own BS was she buying? Did she actually,
I
on some
don't
level,
know.
did she believe it?
I don't know.
No.
I honestly, I have no idea. I know that this is where the name things get confusing. So Seth called Jane Rupert, fairly close to Robert, Robert F. Butts, her husband's name. Seth called Jane Rupert, also referred to Jane as a him because because Seth had known Jane as Rupert / other people many times during processes of reincarnation and stuff. They go way back. They go way. It's an old high school boyfriend, just like way the fuck back. And Robert F. Butts was called Jonathan. There was like 9 people in the room where 2 people were sitting. Like honestly, just like what the literal shit gets out of hand. I don't know how much, and that's why at the beginning when I said like schizophrenia, I wasn't trying to use that improperly. I was being dead serious where I was like, this might be recordings of somebody having schizophrenic episodes or like, I guess in this case, multidimensional personality disorder. Like I don't fucking
That's
know,
a new
but
one.
like
That's a new one.
Yeah.
Multidimensional personality disorder. Coined
Thank
here
you.
by Gil.
No, but like I don't know because I think it's one of these things, and these are words I hate to say on the show, and I do consider them like an insult 99% of the time. I came close a few times to being like, I believe that she believes. I fucking hate that phrase so fucking much. Those are dirty words in my mind. But after listening to hours and hours and hours and reading her husband's version of what she said via Seth, I was like, I don't know. And these were full life commitments. It wasn't like she, at least that I could find, she never dropped the act, and her husband never dropped the act, right? She died first, and like he died, I don't know, a handful of years later. He never dropped the act.
Yeah.
So like they might have 100% been committed to this shit, or believed it.
That's hard.
Again, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
to never. Even Alex Jones dropped his act, when he was about to go to jail, right? So, or if he was in court, I guess.
Yeah.
The Warrens, I feel like sometimes drop the act when they were talking to the writers of some of the books.
Yes, Ed and
So-
Lorraine Warren.
Yeah. So to see that, I mean, and maybe it just wasn't documented, that they did in some
Right.
ways, because that
Yeah.
could happen, because they're
Mhm.
selling
You're
millions of
like,
books.
damn it, Robert, why'd you write that down? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the wrong thing. Just like throws a shoe at him.
Well,
No, that was Seth.
you're reminding me. You're reminding me of some shit that happened. So I did take a bunch of notes about random things in between the massive piles of gibberish rubbish
Mhm.
that was this book. And it's like the funny because Robert was very fucking detailed, or Jonathan, or whatever the fuck he's going by that minute. He was very detailed about everything that's happening, including like start times, end times, like little questions that were asked in between, like because like you're sitting there and you're just like, and then the mountain, which you think is no bigger than your toe atoms, can't open as wide as your view of history, such a narrow view of the universe in this moment. Tomorrow. Like while that shit was going on, and that could have been a fucking direct quote. Again, I've been listening to this shit a lot.
Mhm.
There would be breaks. There would be these little moments where Seth, I'm just gonna fucking call him Seth. You know who I'm talking about. The phone call process I'm talking about there. Where Seth would stop and ask Robert questions or request things, or sometimes, because again, at the beginning of the book, which those 20 pages felt more like a disclaimer for the rest of the content than they did an actual, like, I'm getting ramped up to, like, read some shit.
Mhm.
There were points. At one point, they openly admitted at one point, and then Rupert got up in the middle of the session and went and got some brandy, and like she was drinking like rum, wine, coffee. She was chain smoking the whole fucking time that it was happening. Whatever. I mean, I'm drinking on the show. If I could smoke, I would, but I'm also not claiming to be channeling an eternal entity spirit and like dictating a belief system. So there's a difference,
Not yet.
although love our followers. But but no, there's one point I don't remember what I have the actual page saved somewhere where she gets up in the middle of a session and he said fucking Robert F. Butts is like writing down like everything that's happening, like vigorously, right? Very detailed, very committed. She gets up. It's 10:15 p.m. Thursday, December da 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 da. She's like Jane, aka Rupert, gets up from the couch. She walks through the living room, into the doorway, and into the kitchen. I hear sounds coming from the drawers. She spent like 5 minutes looking for matches so she could come back and light a cigarette
As Seth.
while she's in the middle of this intense channeling and being like, oh, no! And then she just is like, and just leaves and goes back and sits down. And the reason why God is small. And it's just like, what the fuck? So ridiculous. And then there's these little moments which do make me question. Again, I kind of go back and forth because I'm like, I don't know if I'm not a fucking psychologist. I don't know what the fuck. Maybe this is a known thing or an issue, but I do have a great. Unless Joey, were you about to say something, bud?
No.
You would say something, face.
Yeah, I was about to say she's got to be like she's got to be like the Robert De Niro, of acting. If she's getting in a lot of ways not believing it, because like to be able to go from point A, yeah, to like to doing your own life, like to doing your own life, and that point back to point A again is like switching on a light. And like actors train like so many years to be able to do that, and to
maybe
switch off
7
and on.
years.
87 years?
No, like maybe 7 years from the time that Robert first contacted her, and when they actually started to go public with it. That we're looking, in my mind, in my honest opinion, we're looking at 7 years of acting. Of self-educated acting training.
True. Yeah.
Acting lessons. So
one of the commenters on YouTube also said this, that Bob Dylan would sing softer at his shows, so
Mm.
people would listen in closer to listen to his music.
Ooh.
Mhm.
So that, and then I was like, that's around the same time that this was happening. And
Mhm.
so maybe she
Yeah.
started learning that style from Bob Dylan of his entertainment.
Michael Jackson sung in higher
Mhm.
pitches because children can still hear those. But no, I'm just kidding. I love Michael Jackson, but not
Yeah,
the
I was,
things that he did.
I was just
Um,
thinking, just a random thought. Her like
Yeah.
the story you just told of where she
Ah,
was in the middle, like and then went and like dug in some drawers for like 5 minutes straight,
that's a
and then
match.
came back, was like
Ah!
that makes me think, because I know like when she came out of it quick. It was pretty quick process. Like when she was done, and then was back to Jane. It's pretty quick,
Yeah.
painless process.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
that makes me think as an actor of like the method. You stay in
Mhm.
character. You stay
Mhm.
because you don't want to lose that. Because once you
Yep.
lose it, you lose all that motivation and everything internally going on. So you keep it going because that's just easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
no, that 100% tracks, but I think like so the book Seth speaks. I can't speak for the other like 30 volumes of different Seth speakings. Um, but it didn't have things broken down where it was like session number 501 and then the next page was session number 502. It didn't have things broken down like that.
Mhm.
So, you know, uh, she didn't edit, but she would be the best editor, but she didn't edit. But she would be the best editor if she did edit. And even if she did edit, maybe this is like an actual thing now because she made this process up. So again, it goes back to that disclaimer where it's like that shit might have happened where she like did completely fall out of the method and she had like an entire, a slump in terms of things. They were doing it 2 nights a fucking week
Mhm.
for hours
Yeah.
every single night, that they were doing this. So maybe she did. And he did at certain points, like Robert F. Butts, he would say like it was a slower evening for her tonight. She wasn't dictating or giving me as much stuff to dictate. Like, but in all fairness too, it's like flip back. It's day-to-day life. You're gonna have good days. You're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have high energy, low energy. It's like this is over decades, literally. So
But
every two,
Yeah.
Robert,
but
Robert.
if it is Seth speaking through her,
Yeah.
there would not be any low, higher, or high energy.
Brother, there is a 20-page disclaimer that you can refer to if you want about that. That gives reason about, hey, well, I just make sure to benefit her, but not take from her. But also, if she pushes herself too far, she's an author. Like it literally gets into, she's an author too. While she was doing all this, she also wrote and started to get published 2 other books while doing all of this. So, like, how could she possibly also be doing this? And like that dude, like it's 20 pages, and then it's like, aha! It like kind of comes into this shit.
So the
So
idea is that
anything
he's
you
not
say,
an
there'll be a
energy.
disclaimer.
I guess he's not an energy vampire. Seth is not an energy
No,
vampire.
no,
taking
no.
the energy from her to do this. So,
No,
that I
that
guess
was a long process of them learning how to I don't know, have the same phone plan and minutes every month or some shit. I don't know what the fuck it was, but like literally that is detailed in paragraphs where it's just like, and I don't take, but I give, but I don't give too much to change her. But she does help influence things, but not in the ways that you think. What were you thinking? It wasn't that. It wasn't that. That's not what it was. In this other way that you didn't think of, that might have happened, but unless you thought of that, then that did not happen.
It's
That's
quite,
the whole.
quite the disclaimer.
this is literally South Park.
Dude,
Mhm.
so let's see here. What another funny there was one moment that stood out, and it kind of it encapsulated the feeling of what became Seth and Jonathan, aka Robert F. Butts' relationship during these intense sessions where both married parties are sitting there every single 2 nights a week, dedicated 3, 4, 5 hours, and he's writing down everything. Figure it's became a focal point in their life, right? So there's a relationship that's going to develop between Seth and Robert. Robert, session 559, 559, November 9th, 1970, 9:18 p.m. Monday. Excerpts from the 558th session for November 5th are included in the appendix. Seth. Good evening. Just saying it was like this at home too. Robert, good evening. Good evening, Seth. Seth. Now for dictation. We will begin the next chapter. It will be called Stories of the Beginning and the Multidimensional God. Robert, leaning forward. Robert notes. Seth leaned forward, smiling but intent. Seth, how do you like that? Robert, it's very good. Immediately. As the present life of an individual rises from hidden dimensions beyond those easily accessible in physical terms, and as it draws its energy and power to act from unconscious sources, so does the presence physical universe as you know it rises from other dimensions, so does it have its source and derive its energy from deeper realities. Now I'm going to drop the voice for a minute and just read it like you would probably read it in your head. It doesn't help. History as you know it represents but one single light upon which you focus. You interpret the events that you see therein, and you project upon its glimmer your interpretation of events that may occur. So, entranced is your concentration that when you wonder about the nature of reality, you automatically confine your question to this one small flickering moment that you call physical reality. When you ponder upon the aspects of God, you unthinkingly speak of the creator of that one light. The light is unique, and if you truly understand what it was, you would indeed understand the nature of true reality. History, as you think of it, represents but one thin line of possibilities in which you are presently immersed. It does not represent the entire lifetime of your species or the catalog of physical activities, or begin to tell the story of physical creatures, their civilizations, wars, joys, technology, or triumphs. Finishing up a Seth. Reality is far more diverse, far richer, and unutterable than you can presently suppose or comprehend. Illusion, as you think of it, and as is categorized by your scientists, represents but one probable line of evolution. That the whole fucking book is that. The whole
So-
goddamn book is. It's like I can understand bits and pieces, but it's like you're just repeating the same shit everybody else said.
It's automatic writing vocalized with a character on top of it. That's it. That's it.
It's
what-
AI. It's AI writing.
ask Chat GPT to give me something deep about, our meaning and the real, truth. Like give me something. That's what it would sound like. It's very
Open
circular,
AI
very
5.0
long-winded. There are no
Seth.
periods. I'm convinced there are no periods in the entire book.
That's explained at the beginning of the book.
So,
I'm not.
are there no
fucking
periods?
shitting it.
Are you serious?
No.
Okay.
No. There's a part where Jane, because Jane was allowed to write the introduction, or Rupert, the fuck she's going by that week. Jane literally says, And, Seth, I mean, he's great. He did fantastic. We didn't have to edit anything, but if we did, it would be okay. But honestly, I mean, even if I did make it up, but she says, she's like, he's a fantastic writer. It's his first book. You got to cut him some credit. He does have very long sentences, though. Like, that's like a literal line.
So, to add to my theory about ancient Egyptian God,
Set never used a period.
never used punctuation.
Yes, baby.
Because it's all in hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphics had no punctuation. Ancient Egyptian had no punctuation.
It's true.
Hence, it being translated to English would have no punctuation.
Ants was the Egyptian word for grammar. Set ants means stopping Set from fucking up words. This makes sense. I made that up. I'm not going to keep people in suspense. I know
you would have had me there, but
oh, I know.
So,
totally wrapped up.
So are we going with the Seth is set theory? Is that the theory?
Oh God! Imagine if you were in ancient Egypt and you just heard this coming down from the pyramid, looking down as you were getting whipped, moving the stones into place.
Oh my God!
Have you guys seen that video where they've been able to recreate? Please tell me you know what I'm talking about. So it's a sarcophagus.
A lot of videos where they've been able to recreate. Okay,
no. Okay, yeah.
That
one.
I've seen
it. The sarcophagus got the mummy inside, and these scientists had worked to we can recreate.
Yes.
I haven't seen this.
We have to post this on socials. There's a video. It was like my hot dog fail, or I've seen so many of them, but they're through thousands of years of scientific research, and it's all these intense 3D CAT scans, and it's multicolored layers, and it's scientists have been able to recreate what King Tutankhamun actually sounded like. And he's like,
It's true.
It's so good. It's so good. Oh my God. No, but I did just realize the beginning of Crazy Train was Ozzy Osbourne becoming a Sethite. That was Seth doing backup.
Oh, that makes sense.
And if you take the words and remove the commas, Ozzy was still learning at the time. If you take the words and remove the commas, it sounds like 90% of this fucking book. On a crazy train. Everybody's like, yeah, my life is a crazy train. Yeah.
They were around at the same time.
Coincidence? Fuck no, because I make my own reality, which we'll get to in just a moment.
Mm-hmm. It did listening to the instantly and constantly revolving speech and patterns and just the train of thought behind it. Literally, probably in every single thing is trying to give you the idea that you are your own God.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you believe that your perception affects reality, and that means you can create anything that you would like, and that the way that they explained it as history is only you're viewing your own history, you're not viewing somebody else's history, and is what she said, that you're this person here. And it comes back to you're your own God because you can create and shape your perception of how you feel everything is going. Yeah. And that's what I kind of got what the circular path kept going to, because it kept saying, you're this person and you don't know what that person is seeing. And so back in the day, you're your own piece of history. Mm-hmm. But that person has their own piece of history, which is another perception of how the reality is. And I feel like that is consistently every single conversation looped back to that one point. And so if we're going to say that there's a pizza party, right? Our Pizza Hut pizza party at the end of the road, for me, what I'm getting from this, a little
Mhm,
personal,
mhm.
your personal pizza,
Personal pan.
which
Mhm.
technically it's
Yep,
your
yep.
personal here.
Yep,
It's
yep,
your
yep,
personal
yep,
history.
yep.
That is the personal thing, is that you can create your own reality and you can create your own God in a way in this idea. This
Mhm.
is how I'm viewing Seth and Jane and Robert, but um that's how I'm viewpointing what they're saying, just you're creating your own God. You are your own God because your viewpoint is what you're creating.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
Well, it's not, it's not a brand new idea. Like the spiritualism movement was doing a lot of like pieces of this, but at that time, like you got to think in the 60s, like shit was going to get real. Like what was the environment like around that point where, this was the new idea and it was the best idea, a very momentous idea to make each individual person to feel like they had control over every aspect of their lives. They
mhm.
just had to believe it hard enough. They just had to go within and realize that they were one with God and they themselves were as powerful as that and they were blessed and they had full control. Like, what was that was the landscape at the time, right? It was a changing time. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting, and it's
People.
still around today.
Mhm.
Lots of people still that's incorporated in tons of belief systems today.
Yeah. Non-Europeans,
Hmm.
right, were all of a sudden allowed to go to schools on non-European land here in the United States, and that was crazy.
Hmm.
Wow. Like Biden was in school then. But he was.
Yep.
And Trump was making sure that didn't happen in his Trump's dad was making sure that didn't happen in his apartment complexes. Which Woody
Mhm.
Guthrie wrote a great song about. Um,
I haven't heard it.
I'll have to
Joey, you
listen to that
fucking
one.
did it again. Not surprised. But there's
Damn
a
it, Joey.
lot. There are some, and you're right too, Kristen. Like you kind of called the moment. Joey kind of called like the consolidation of like how that reflects the beliefs. You kind of called the consolidation of how that made a focal point of this moment. It primed people
Hmm.
for Jane / Seth / Robert / Joseph / whatever the fuck was going on that day.
Yeah.
To step up to the top of this pyramid that everybody had their backs to at the moment. Everybody's like, wait a fucking that is there. And then they were like, I'm
Mhm.
on top. Oh! and it's like Tuesday, September 28th, 19. Seth is on top. Again. But
That was a different kind
no,
of book that he was writing. His side quest.
hey man, gotta pay the bills in the meantime.
Mhm.
No, but there's a lot of things. And so again, I did the same shit they all did, whichever version of them you want to think of, at the beginning with a long, a tedious intro. I always drop the breadcrumbs. So just as I said, shit that goes too fucking far. And when you get to the fundamentalist level, literally, I mean, other than the Amish, which, by the way, don't always have the best reputation with their own fucking children, just letting you know, Rumspringa, it's a total fucking thing. And if they do choose to leave, right, to not come back and be disowned and disband and yada, 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 99% of the time, shit does not work out well for them. So people always are like, well, the Amish are fundamentalists and they're just stuck in 1800s German life. And it's like, yeah, but there's still some downsides. I'm just going to say, if you go too far in any direction, it's good. The world's gray. All right. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Our words shouldn't be, but the world is. Well, one
50
major
Shades of
thing.
it.
Mm-hmm. There. How's it going? So one of the things, and it gets repeated a lot, is Seth's non-traditional karma views. I want to put in quotes here. Non-traditional means I don't know what the fuck to say after the first two sentences of explaining karma, right? Because this same shit gets repeated a million fucking times for every other thing. That's how it gets rebranded as a new thing, right? It's just like, oh, well, this is a hot take on an old idea, you know. But in reality, watching, you just heard the video, nobody understood it, even with subtitles, you can't fucking understand it. That was all the gibberish that's in between the actual like clear moments of talking about things that folks might know about, such as like karma or dogma or reincarnation or things of that nature, which for now we take as you know, we have the privilege of being like, everybody knows about that. Not everybody did in 1970.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, let's be fucking
Yeah.
real. Like, not everybody fucking did that. That was some hip, new, crazy shit where it's just like, my older sister was a really cool hippie. I finally got out of the house, and it's like I'm just getting exposed to this cool shit that I've always looked up to. Like, we have to look at these generational transitions and realize that they were affecting folks at that time, and they were like, I finally get to see NSYNC, but ah, shit, they quit. You know, like, this is their thing. So his non-traditional, which read as, I think I know what it means, and if I make anything up, I meant to do that. Like the beginning of the book. Basically, the belief is your reincarnated self is alive throughout all of time right now, because time doesn't exist, and your consciousness is actively choosing your consciousness, which is everywhere. All at once, right? You know what I'm saying? It's anywhere in time. Where is it? Behind you. It's in front of you. Oh my God, it's inside of Jane. You know, nobody knows. Your consciousness, you know, if you're sitting there and you're saying like, I was Cleopatra, well, you're also currently Cleopatra. And Cleopatra is living right now because time doesn't exist. But she's also you. Right? So all happening all at the same time, because time is totally a mental construct that apparently is the one fucking thing that we can't decide doesn't exist out of everything. And here's the biggest point. Your consciousness, which is just kind of this, like, I guess the boss of your physical existence and experience across all of these spontaneous, simultaneous things that are happening. Your consciousness is actively fucking choosing to enact a bunch of different experiences at once, almost like going into the fucking Best Buy or some shit, and there's 30 TVs that are fucking on, and they all have different channels on, right? That's your consciousness. It's watching all of them at once and experiencing everything at once. So if you're born rich, famous, and wealthy, right, again, because you create your reality, because your consciousness chose to do some shit, then it was your choice to be born rich, famous, beautiful, you know, now no medical problems, the perfect body, everything in the world, you're completely set up. And it was also your choice to be a 14-year-old dragged into a concentration camp, dragged into a concentration camp in Nazi Germany, and live there for a handful of years, get the shit beaten out of you, barely fucking survive if you're fucking like, or just watch a lot of horrible things and then fucking die. Dude, it was their consciousness choice. Like, that's just the path they're on. See, now we get to the harsh side of the extreme views, which is suffering in the world is done by choice. And when it's not the actual individual, in the case of, like, say, like a concentration camp, when it's something external, they make their reality. They manifested this. They chose, this group of people chose to be in this place at this time. I shouldn't feel bad. I'm in a better position because I chose this. And I should respect the fact that they're still in school. Why would a 6th grader go into a 3rd grade's classroom and be like, no, that's not how you answer this. You need to learn the... No. They need to go on their own path of education. See, this becomes incredibly fucking problematic. Like, on a societal level, this becomes problematic. And, like, case in fucking point, one of the major regions that she stole a lot of shit from, especially when it comes to reincarnation and karma, is India, which has a notoriously toxic, which still fucks with them today, caste system. It is horribly toxic. So even with being one of the oldest civilizations, contiguous civilizations on the planet, still struggles with issues in society from a caste system. Thousands and thousands of years, like go back BC and then thousands of years on top of that, they still struggle with it, with their versions of theologians and experts and like their politics and like the whole society being 100% educated and aware and raised in it. They still got a fucking problem with that belief. She just went through and was like, yeah, karma, reincarnation, yeah, so basically everybody chooses, right?
Mhm.
More or less. And like we all kind of got to go through, and consciousness is just learn that bullshit is really fucking dangerous.
Mhm.
Like, because it's dangerous even when societies have decided to keep that and not weed it out as a viewpoint. Like, thankfully, we live in a day and age where it's just like the differences between sexes, the differences between nationalities and races and stuff like that. It is at least, while there might be one foot kicking, another foot's trying to stomp it out, you know, at least we're having that point. Shit did used to be a lot more blatant and bad in a lot of ways. So it's like we're working away from that. And hopefully in 1,000 years, people are like, I can't even understand that concept of racism or sexism, right? India's had this strong, like Hindu, like driven like belief or like belief within Hindu of karma and reincarnation. They haven't let go of it. And it's a huge fucking issue. This bitch fucking introduced that to a bunch of people in an even more toxic way.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you also, on top of everything, where it's just like, I'm starting to doubt my own beliefs about maybe they're not choosing that. They really seem like they want to leave. Now they can go back to, yeah, but they're living at the same time in a better situation. So it's okay. Like it seriously excuses so many things the closer you get to the extremes of this.
I can
And this is the
see.
same shit. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I can see why, and this is a weird thing to say. I can see why so many people got into this, and even at the
100%.
end of it, with that knowledge that you opened up, kind of right there, I can still see why people believe it or want to still be part of it and want to still learn, because there's like, you can see the two sides of this, right? So I can see this being huge in Hollywood, and just like
I could see it
rich
being huge in
people.
the situation Kristen outlined about
Yeah.
the chaos and the turmoil that was also taking place at this exact same
Mhm.
time.
Mm-hmm. Like people
100%.
rich can say, I chose this. This is like, but and they chose what
Step
they
over the
chose.
houseless person.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and that's a huge problem, because what you're saying too is like, now that's adding to the point. Why would I try to help them?
Yeah. Hey,
You know,
but
why
you know
why
what?
would I
If
do
you
that?
really meant that, you would manifest it.
Yeah, you would manifest it. Why would I try to help
You'd
them?
believe
So
in it.
now there's
That's what
no
I did.
goodwill towards people. Like you're saying, there's no goodwill towards trying to help anybody else out because they chose it. And then the people at the bottom, the other side of it, would just be saying, well, I chose this and I did this to myself, so I need to live like this, you know. And maybe in another life, I'll choose better. I'll choose another life, you know. And instead of them having India caste system is like the perfect thing about this, because like they can't marry above their caste, they can't move above their caste, so it's like they're
Yeah.
stuck in this lot. And
There's
that's the
issues
same
with
idea.
jobs.
Just jobs,
Jobs,
yeah.
politics, like it's so many fucking weird areas. But yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and so like that dilutes this area of like somebody being like, oh, I have a abundance, so
Yeah.
let me use that abundance to help somebody else that doesn't have abundance, and that wholly takes away that whole idea. So now there is no helping anybody else. It's like, no, they chose it, that's on them. And it creates this, again, this self-centered person. It's not about anybody else, it's about me. And I am going to do
Your
what's best for me.
universe.
Yeah, your universe.
Gods are jealous of you. Time dies, but you don't. Like, literally, that's what it fucking does.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you, hey, all of your fucking concerns about the world, all of your fears, anything that makes you feel bad, any like bad vibes, bro, any bad vibes, like
Californian now.
yeah, but like any like just like I don't watch the news. I don't watch politics. Like, it makes me feel bad. Well, like so many fucking things, like in terms of like trends and bullshit. This piece of shit sparked. I'm sorry, but she's a fucking asshole. Like, this is bullshit. Like, she knew what she did. She was teaching fucking classes on this shit. And a lot of the fan websites say, then they started getting into it. No! Like, if you read the fucking book, it literally says, and I was doing like, it doesn't say that at the beginning. It says it like probably at a point where most folks' eyes glaze over. I took breaks. It's important to take breaks. But there's parts where it's just like, and then I started introducing Seth to the class or to the ESP classes I had been teaching before the book was being written. Like, she admits it. She doesn't outright say it, but in all fairness, she doesn't outright say shit. Like, nothing. So like this is a consistent thing. But yeah, she manipulated the fuck out of a lot of these things. She might have also been fucking crazy. She might have been getting higher on her own supply. I don't fucking know. I have no clue. But across the board, not just with karma or with reincarnation, weird fucking view on that. Like, it gets into like, you literally, like, and I mean literally, create the universe. It goes into like the Matrix kind of like bullshit where it's just like, no, you actually do create the universe. There's a whole thing where Seth is being like, and the thing is like, when you think you're in a bad mood and you don't see the lights in the room change, everybody else sees the lights in the room change, but they don't actually see what's going on inside of your head, but the room does change. And my friends, and he goes into like a weird, like, I'm out in space or whatever the fuck. He's like, my friends, we don't even use words that much. We just know what we're thinking based off of how the environment changes around us. Like, it literally goes into like, no. If you really want a new car, you can manifest it.
Yeah.
Like, it goes all of that shit, dude. And it's not the fact that, like, look, every fucking Olympic, I've never heard a major athlete be like, yeah, so sitting there, I was like, gotta kick the fucking winning goal, And they were all like, how do I play sports ball? And I was like, bro, I got you. And so I ran up on the field. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kick the goal. And I just, I'm sitting there and I just visualized missing. I just visualized missing. No athlete has ever said that about anything. Like, I go target shooting all the time, and it's like, you do there is a point to that, but like anything taken to a fucking extreme, it gets dangerous. Where it's just like, all right, like, jobs bum me out, they really stress me out. Like, I don't like waking up every day. Like, it doesn't work with my circadian rhythm, and it da and like this and that. And my sister was mad yesterday. It wasn't at me, and she was totally fine with me, but I would just bum me out. She was mad, and like, I just can't get a job right now, so I'm just gonna manifest my bills getting paid. Like, this is not a thing.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a physical part to it. There's a
Well, and
physical end. Go ahead, Kristen.
And
Yes.
well, no matter what people believe about that kind of thing, because I think what we're talking, or what I'm talking about, and based on like what she did, she was an example of extreme, like when extreme goes very, very bad, and it gets toxic. And I don't think what was coming out of her mouth was genuine or original thought or anything like inspired by something outside of herself. I don't think it was that. She was pulling from Einstein's theory of relativity and Indian belief systems and all of the things that came before, and pulling them all, cramming them together, and blah, and then just automatic writing, vocalizing it out. And once it's out, and then she's got to stick with that, and that's the belief system now. But I will say, like, there's a lot of current day beliefs that I think there are healthy and beautiful things about
100%.
taking aspects of this stuff, even something like manifestation, whether you think there's anything to it or not. Like, I think there's something beautiful about working towards something, like visualizing something, and then months down the road,
Totally.
okay, yes, I got that fucking job. I got it. I believed in
Mhm.
myself. I did the work. Like, I got it. Like, so, like, I mean, I hate that. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I guess I just hate that she did this to so many people in such a toxic friggin' way, because out of these beliefs, like, there can be really cool things realized, and like, just better ways to conduct yourself, better ways to like live your life, I guess. I don't know. There was just something bothering me about that, but
It's
I think that was basically it.
no, you're 100% right, and I would encourage folks to, if they're feeling similar, I guess this is what I would say as like as a backing up of my friend Kristen here, right, to that response.
Thank you.
Is the point behind all of this whole episode and everything about it is like, don't focus on New Age, focus on what New Age stole it from,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because other cultures, other beliefs, other practices all over the world had similar, more healthy, at least like society could fucking function ish, aspects of these types of beliefs. They might have called them different things. It might have been here and there. You know, it was cherry picked. So you're not wrong in the sense that like you're not wrong at all, or you shouldn't feel bad at all in like feeling comfortable with or holding the beliefs or wanting to hold those beliefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because so many different cultures and religions all around the world throughout time have also held aspects of it.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
how it's how the ingredients were mixed
Right. Right.
that was more, it was more quickly toxic, right? It was like
Mhm.
way, it was kind of like, you can eat an apple and eat the apple seeds, you'll be fine. But if I ground up a shit ton of apples and you ate them, you would die of arsenic poisoning.
Mhm.
You know, it's
Mhm.
like it's like, don't, just be careful, dude. Like, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was, the danger was, you know, it's the is it the Hunting Kruger effect? Oh fuck. It's the something Kruger effect, but it's basically, it's this bell curve of like knowledge where it's just like, you acknowledge that you don't know fucking shit about a subject or a topic.
Dunning
You
Kruger.
start to
Yeah.
Dunning Kruger, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then there's a weird thing that happens. You learn just enough to quite literally be dangerous. You're like, I
Mhm.
understand. Why do these experts say that? Oh, 30 years. Oh, I'm going to come in and I'm going to revolutionize this. And these fools don't understand what the fuck's coming. And then there's a peak. It's like a very silent peak. Nobody fucking owns up to it about like, damn, I was a fucking idiot. And they drop down, and you find on the other end of the expert list, or the other end of the effect, right? They're like, we don't know anything about anything. You know, that's just, it doesn't pick a fucking
Mhm.
field, or it's, everyone says the same shit when they get across it. She got to the very highest point over and over, like habitually
Mhm.
across a lot of
Yeah.
different things, and was voracious about it. And she was up in like the New England, New York area and shit. So she had access to this when a lot of folks that were coming from non-central locations, again, this is the 1970s. You had to go to a big city to find anything that wasn't a fucking Bible in your bookstore. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, it was that's where you found culture as a youth. Um, she became a center of that shit. She was in the right place at the right time, but she also made shit up to connect the dots in a very,
Yes.
it's dangerous as fuck to do that. It's
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
dangerous to do that. You know, it's like,
Agreed.
I know how to
Mhm.
fix that on your car, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure we could just use a zip tie." And you're like, why are my brakes working? Like, you should not make shit up like that.
Mhm.
If she just dabbled around and tested shit until she found some comfortable personal belief system,
Mhm.
fucking cool, man. I hope everybody gets to do that. Don't preach it like it's literal gospel coming from an eternal, ethereal entity that has been alive 4 million times, and like actually enforce the shit, because then you get the shit today where like, I have met those folks that are just
Yeah.
straight up like, I don't want to focus on the politics because like at the end of the day, you know, like, I know it's really sad what's going on in Gaza, but like, that's how they're learning their lesson in life right now.
Mhm.
And like,
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
to learn mine right now.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
just like, wow. And they're like, anyways, I mean, I get my dad bought it for me, but like, honestly, I had been thinking about it, you know, and I really feel like I manifested that, you know, and it's just, dude, that is bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's a
Agreed.
bad mentality.
Totally agreed.
The
Totally.
Yeah.
empathy leaves.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
mean,
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
yeah, empathy leaves people because now they, as I was saying earlier, now you're not thinking about anyone else but yourself.
Yeah.
And like we said earlier, like there's nothing completely wrong with trying to be positive, trying to be
Not at all.
manifest an idea, manifest something into your life, because like it's a whole lot easier to find something being positive about something than it is being negative about things, right? So,
Mhm.
and I'm not saying, some people have intrusive negative thoughts and we all do. It sucks. And
Yeah.
we go through that. And like one of the positive thoughts that I've had is like, there's a dogma. Why isn't there a catma?
It's because
I
it's
literally
sleeping
went
more.
I
through all that
love-
just to
I
shoehorn that joke in
love that
there.
thought
I
for
love it.
you,
I'm the-
Joey. I love
Joe
it.
is in the background, just fucking
Just
what do I say?
making notes,
He
scribbling
just
it out.
started
No.
started off. The paper turned landscape, like turned sideways. Way at the bottom right corner, he wrote the word cat, and he's like, "How do I get here?"
I
then
was
he's like,
thinking while
What
you guys
would
were
Jane
talking.
/ Seth do?
Yeah, I
What
was
would
thinking how
Rupert do?
how would Seth connect these dots into this horrible idea to bring in this joke? And that's what I feel like I bring to this. That's the positivity and manifestation that I
You
bring
just
to these
pick
episodes.
point A to point B, and then you make shit up all the
Yeah,
way there.
and I drag you guys with me into these depths.
No.
And
Yeah,
I hope
Point A,
that-
point B, but then you make point B become point A. Fuck
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. Yep.
No, I'm nobody's point B.
And you guys believe where I'm going with this, so that's the good
Totally.
part.
I
We will
know it.
Support you all the way there.
And
Thank you.
And if anybody's worried about the after death thing, not that you can die when there's no time, but you will die, but not you won't, but you will. Seth says, whatever the fuck you believe happens after death is what you experience after death for a period of time, and then he didn't know.
So
You
I
didn't
Whatever
know
the fuck it
more after
was.
that?
I will quote.
No, because he didn't
'cause
die. He wasn't dead.
will-
I'll read the intro to the book, and that'll be the last fucking thing that I'm quoting on him. Sorry,
I will
what were you
say
saying,
that
Theo?
there is a quote though in the audio that I was listening to about this, because beforehand I listened to a bit about the soul. You are not gifted a soul. You already have a soul, so it kind of goes along with the there's no time idea behind it. Is the soul is you basically, and that's kind of how I also apply to you're your own god kind of thing. Is that in like this meat suit that is us, I guess, our bodies, as some people say, we're in a meat
Some have
suit.
Armani.
Yeah, our Armani suit, or a Bentley car suit, is your, yep, exactly. Is that there's no soul gifted to you, but you are that soul. So like that's how they add in that you can just literally go to any time because your soul is just everywhere at once. And so there is no physical there is a physical version of you in every single place and time. And that you can inhabit that physical person anytime you want by just thinking about it. And there are TV shows that have that idea too. I think one of them was the OA. It's on Netflix too. It's the idea you can just move into the physical different realities of
Ocean
you in
Shore.
different multiple
Mhm.
universes. But that's kind of the thing I feel like is they're trying to interpret is that you can just go anywhere by thinking about it. And in an imagination, you can. In your imagination, you can imagine yourself anywhere. But I think there is a personal reality that we're all in, that we live. Just in my being and my thought,
Yep,
I
that's
feel
your
like
fault.
there is.
That's your fault.
That's true. That's true. Because I can't
That's your fault.
can't picture myself outside of this life I'm leading. And
You
I
don't
guess
know.
that's where I need to listen to more.
Unless
True.
you're only aware of you in this life until you've
Seth
actually
said that too.
shifted your focus. I know. Until you've actually shifted your focus to another one of yous. At first I thought you were talking about multi-world theory, but then I was like, no, you're literally talking about you can just like experience whichever incarnation as soon as you shift your focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
are
that's
your consciousness
strange.
looking at a giant wall of TVs that have different things playing. Why are you staring
mean,
at the
how-
side one?
How do we know we're not shifting our focus constantly? How do we know we're awake and not asleep? I don't know. How
Girl,
do we
I've
know?
got like clinically severe ADHD. I am shifting my focus constantly. Do you realize that if this was an actual thing, how many times I would be I'd just be gone like somewhere else, where I'm just like, oh wow, a fish. Like This actually, thank you. Thank you so much. That you just made me realize how much bullshit all this. I mean, I already knew, but now there's like another truck dumping it. People with ADHD.
Mhm.
If any of this was true, bruh. Like,
Mhm.
Jesus Christ, could you imagine what's going on in the world if folks with ADHD were able to just change everything the fuck around them and disappear whenever they wanted? Like,
Man, that would be wild.
I've left 9 times during this podcast, 3 times physically. So I'm like,
Yep, counted 3.
I'm just saying. But I want to end, if that's okay,
Mhm.
with the start of the book, chapter 1, because immediately I smirked and I was like, Joey, you dog, you got into my PDF reader. Went back in time with your other consciousness. You were Robert F. Butts. I know what the I know what's going on. No.
It's my
Beginning of
alter
this,
ego.
because the one topic that didn't get brought up that gets addressed immediately, because it was their most important thing, my alter ego, is Joseph Robert F. Butts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because he was called Joseph by Seth. Anyways, he starts off with the clearest thing, like, hey, don't call me a demon, don't call me this, don't call me that. You know what I'm saying? Because, like,
Sets
what the
the
fuck
stage.
is he? He's a 17-word long explanation that basically we already have words for. Quote, chapter 1. I do not have a physical body, yet I am writing this book. You have heard of ghost hunters. Oh shit! I didn't read it in her voice, which is I'll read it both ways. I'll read it the way the audiobook did, and then I'll read it the way that Robert had to hear it. Also, they lived in an apartment during all of this, and I'm so scared for their fucking neighbors.
Imagine being the neighbor.
Worst.
Imagine being that neighbor.
Worst neighbors ever. I don't know what they were doing over there.
Some weird
Like,
relationship.
I believe that everybody should love who they want and, you know what I'm saying, procreate with who they want. But I think things are getting out of hand at our neighbor's house upstairs.
Called the police on them because I feel like they chained a person named Seth into their room.
I think they've got a Southern Baptist preacher who just came back from Jamaica. I don't know what's going on up there.
I like how you made them Canadian.
No.
Their neighbor's Canadian.
Close enough to
be
the border.
fair, for someone that wouldn't interfere in this 7-year, maybe more, like, odyssey,
Canadians.
they were probably Canadians that were just like, we'll just let them
Probably
be.
Canadians.
Yep.
Yeah, or from Minnesota. Super nice
Minnesota,
folks.
you know. Yep.
You've heard of ghost hunters. I can quite literally be called a ghost writer, though I do not approve of the term ghost. It is true that I am usually not seen in physical terms. I do not like the word spirit either. And yet, if your definition of that word implies the idea of a personality without a physical body, then I would have to agree that that does describe me. That description fits me. I address an unseen audience. However, I know that my readers exist, and therefore I shall ask each of them now to grant me the same privilege. Now, as it was actually said, chapter 1, I do not have a physical body. Yeah. I am writing up this book. Now I'm not going to read the whole fucking thing like that.
Oh my god, I was getting into it.
I was ready.
Yeah.
That was, could you imagine, like, tens of thousands of pages?
I'm surprised he
and it
didn't go
was cited.
crazy.
He must have loved
Clearly
her.
he did, because he kept, I know.
Dang.
He was such a soft ass.
He really
Soft, but yeah.
Robert
Yeah,
Butts.
there's a million points to get made, everybody, in the book about da 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 and all this other shit. It's trash. It's fucking trash. Go listen to her speak for herself.
Seth
Jane
Speaks.
Roberts.
Mhm.
Yeah, go listen. Also, if you want to find Seth Speaks, ooh, actually, what is it? What is it? I have it written down here. Yes. So just a fucking heads up, the Seth Learning Center is still active and thriving with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people daily going to the website, buying the loads of books, even though both Robert Butts / Joseph and Jane / Rupert's / Seth's telephone here are gone. That's still active and thriving. I have no idea who the fuck's running it. They're still taking your money. They're still trying to do shit. And if you go to any YouTube video, tens of thousands of comments, which are split into three things. Sorry, Joey, I know you're going to say something. Three things. They're split into hardcore believers who had their lives completely changed for the better, and honestly, based off of how they kind of replied to people that were knocking them and shit, actually sound like decent human beings that are trying to be good folks. I ain't got no fucking problems with you, right? That's cool. That's cool. Good on you. I'm happy. Shit worked out. That's all we can ask for before we die, right? The second group of folks, this is the fucking most ridiculous shit I've ever seen / funniest shit in history. And the third group of folks, all three groups are passionate. That Ouija board introduced a demon, and this has been used to pull everybody away from Christ and the church. You were possessed. Everybody run from these sins. Every fucking comment means one of those three things. It's an equal split. I checked. I might hop in there just to fuck with the percentage and be like, just leave that. So if you see a video that just says, it's my Black Cat Report. But,
Gil, if you wanna pipe in that exit music, we can do a nice.
Not before.
Oh,
Kristen.
Are we doing closing
tells
thoughts?
us.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless but we have the magic of editing, and probably low numbers because we announced this live so late. So whatever the fuck you want to say, nobody's gonna see it until it's just right. Are there any closing thoughts that you have about all this?
Please.
Get all this shit off your
yes,
chest.
yes.
Fucking rant. Look at what I'm doing. Microphone. I moved it away. Can't even.
All right. No. Closing thoughts.
I'm
I
like
will.
Robert over here.
I will say. I will say. This was a good one. I appreciate you bringing me on for this one. This was a good one for me. I realized very quickly on because I am not friendly to the physical medium. I'm really not friendly to the trance medium. I have yet to see really outstanding proof, and I'm pretty open-minded to a lot of things. But yeah, they the episode I did on them traumatized me, man. So this was a good one to jump in with you guys, and I appreciate that. Going through the material, yeah, I mean, Gil is not lying, y'all. Like, it's listen to the tape. One I saw was on YouTube. Listen to it. Read the book. It's exactly as he portrayed it to be. It's pretty unlistenable. It's pretty awful. You will be lost, and you're not the only one. But I will say, like, in this instance, shoot the messenger, not necessarily the message, because I think there's some good things still to be gleaned in the information, even though she, Rupert, Jane, whoever, just totally botched it and took things that she shouldn't have taken and ran with them. And for you guys, Ramtha next week? Ramtha? They're giving me questioning looks. It's a yes. Okay. That's all I got.
Sure. Sure. You want to tell
Yeah.
everybody also where your podcast and where you can be found, because you have
Sure.
a podcast, a wonderful, amazing podcast that we all really love.
Oh, thank you, guys.
And Gil is actually showing the shirt again. So
Yay! I
yeah.
like that shirt. Thank you, guys. Yes, you can hear the Paranorm Girl podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also catch me on a video version on YouTube. And subscribe while you're over there. And you can also follow me on socials and get updates and all that kind of fun stuff at Paranorm Girl Pod on any of the socials.
Yeah, we also, three of us, well, our fourth member is not here at the moment, but the three of us are on a podcast together called Beer, Booze, and Boogeymen, which you can follow us on the socials as well as on YouTube. You can find us anywhere, but Gil is giving me questioning looks for some reason. I don't know.
I've been told by Seth I have an honest expression on my face. I was that wasn't towards you, that was towards my ADHD, because for whatever reason, unless it works magically right now, it did.
There it is.
Fucking did.
It's Seth. Seth
I was.
willed it.
If Seth willed it, it will be. If Seth willed it, it will be.
Yeah. So
No. Go ahead,
we would
brother.
like to thank our Patreon listeners, our YouTube listeners, our YouTube watchers, and especially a big thanks to one of our new watchers/listeners, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie, for commenting through our whole episode on everything going on. And sorry if I didn't keep up enough. I, Joey, was trying to keep up on YouTube comments with you. We really appreciate it. So this is one of our favorite things to do. Kristen, you are the best. Thank you so much for coming on with us and doing this awesome, fun episode that we kind of didn't, Gil did his probably, I would say, like 0.05% of his normal research on this topic. So we not sure when our next episode will be. We're kind of working through it. I'm hoping we can start getting back on a normal weekly cadence, and we will do our best to get there. Mentally get there.
Yeah. We'll be there. We'll be there soon. We do have an episode that was recorded 2 days, 2-ish days, 3 days maybe before the hurricane and shit here. That I was editing the night when the power and the internet and shit went out, and I was like, well, closing my laptop, going to bed. So I gotta get back in that routine, because I did that thing that I always do that I really shouldn't do. I guess I just haven't manifested changing it yet. Which is, I didn't write the 2-part series together at one time. So now all the shit's happened between recording and writing the first, and having to write the second part and record it. And I'm like, oh, that's bad. So there's going to be an episode. It's a fucking fantastic episode, which I literally spent a month and a half on. I'm excited about it. That'll be coming out. The episode number will be wrong. I think you'll still like it. I'll listen. Yeah. Other than that, well, we got shit in the works. And if you've made it this far, you're cool as fuck. And here is our open bounty. Here's our open fucking request. If you know anybody that got into or believed or started to believe any of the Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee hurricane conspiracy theories, rumors, let's just say alt news stories around things, that's what we want an upcoming episode to be, because we're able to give on the ground information from what we actually literally saw, and we want to respect the fact that the news lies to us, but doesn't mean that the response is telling the truth. That's all I gotta say.
Yep. So everybody,
Hit us up.
thank you so much for listening. And if we all want to say one final goodbye for the week, ready?
Reeling it in. We love y'all. Bye.
Ah!
Fantastic, Kristen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, Netta. I didn't mean to scare you, bud. He's like, it's okay, bud. It's okay.
Oh, I think that
Thank
new
you for saying
person, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie, was there through the whole.
Oh, wow.
I don't know who that
know who
is.
that
I'm thinking that is the barista at Battle Cat that I told about our YouTube
Oh, fuck
today,
yeah, dude.
Ooh.
and she is really
Yeah.
awesome. And so
Yeah.
she I think was the person that looked through it. So, oh, so
Aw.
you can start commenting on it,
Your
Gil. I was
personal
trying to
portal.
keep up a little bit, but I mean,
You can have it open.
maybe in the future. I don't know. It's kind of wearing on me. Maybe that we should do a. Are we still
What?
live?
I don't know. No, it's off, bud.
Okay, perfect. Just making sure.
You're getting all nervous.
Well, I just don't want to talk about this person. Talking about this person offline.
Oh, it's
No.
adorable.
I fucking knew it.
Mm-mm.
I said that. All right.
It really
But I
really
knew
isn't like that. She's a really nice person. She's cool.
She's sitting there with the emojis like the big eyes. and stuff,
Joey.
Yep.
Joey only dates bad girls.
like,
And she's a nice
"Oh,
person, so it doesn't
she
count. He doesn't like
is.
nice
I'm sure
people.
she is."
Apparently, it's still going. By the way, so
It was set on automatic stop.
Get her number.
a new person.
Do it.
Thank you,
Oh.
Gil, for stopping it now.
No, dude, it's been stopped. Hold on.
It takes like a few seconds after the stop.
I'm screen sharing this shit. Y'all are looking at this.
Oh my goodness.
If you don't look at the repeated screen and look down here where it says go live.
Mm-hmm.
No, it literally kept. It's still going, Gil.
It's still going. Everybody, you guys are getting the raw behind the scenes, real confusion. I know it's crazy, but this is normal life.
Totally. This is the live life.
Yeah.
Why is
I don't know.
this
Well,
not
we're
working?
glad everybody's listening. So if it's still going, because it's still going.
Hell
so
yeah.
thank you guys,
love you
for
guys.
listening,
After
for coming out
party.
and finding us
After
randomly.
party.
So appreciate it.
This
Yeah.
is usually reserved for Patreon. There.
Mhm.
You'll
Shroom
just
view.
ducked out.
It's still going. Here, let me try to stop it because I am apparently on the on the
Alright.
Black Cat report.
Oh, Gil's back.
Oh my god.
Oh,
I don't know if it's. You guys saw that though on my screen, right? Like it said it was done.
Yeah, but it's still live, buddy. You got to stop it on
I think on YouTube.
Okay.
on YouTube. So sweet.
Okay, but this is. God damn it. Okay, so.
This is what
Yeah,
you
I
get
am
now.
on the
This is-
channel,
Oh,
so I'm
here
gonna
you go. No, check.